got to be a race. Everything's got to be a race.
I need you to speed it up, speed it up. So, what the is IROC? Well, I'm Magnus Walker, I'm here at Laguna Seca, and I'm about to tell you the story about the IROC Race Series.
We obviously started the International Racing Champions, credit to my dad and Jay Signori and Team Penske, and it's really cool to see everybody here, especially a lot of the past IROC champions.
Now, if you're a Porsche guy, you probably really associate the IROC Series with this exact car. But in reality, there were 7 other cars that were involved in the IROC Series, 7 total generations. Okay, here we go. Gen 1 Camaro, 1974 through 1976. Gen 2 Chevy Camaro, 1977 to 1980. Gen 3 IROC Z Camaro, 84 through 89. Dodge Daytona, 1990 to 93. Dodge Avenger, 1994 to 95. And Pontiac Firebird, the 7th generation and the final generation of IROC cars, in production from 1996 to 2006. I'm about to go meet Ray Evernham, the guy behind the IROC Race Series right now. Hey Ray, top of the morning.
Good morning, Magnus.
Great to meet you.
Great to meet you.
How's everything going?
Good. We've got a nice misty morning here to get the cars ready, but it's going really well.
That's good to hear. What'd you do last night?
Well, I ran a little bit hard with a guy named Jeff Gordon and Marcus Smith. We went over to the Motorlux, and then we played cards till late in the evening and had a glass of wine and talked about racing.
That sounds like an awesome night. Yeah. Who's a better card player, you or Jeff Gordon?
Jeff Gordon, you cannot be, guys like him, he's got the poker face, he grew up racing people side by side like Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace. So.
Whoa. Wonder Boy's here.
I hear him talking about me.
So Jeff Gordon is competitive at whatever he does, whether it's behind the wheel or whether he's playing cards.
Getting here, getting out of the parking lot.
He's going to beat you wherever you're going.
It's got to be a race. Everything's got to be a race.
He keeps doing what he's doing, he's going to be okay.
I give her hell. I just climbed out of the 73/4 IROC RSR, which was obviously the Gen 1 of IROC, but I'm here to learn more about IROC. Like, what the fuck is IROC?
The whole thing started because Roger Penske and a guy named Mike Phelps were skiing, Colorado. And, Mike Phelps was a TV guy, and of course Roger, big racer, he said, how come we can't get more people to watch? They started kicking things around and came up with this kind of battle of the superstars, and Roger made a deal with Porsche. Porsche built cars and they sent them over here. And so the first year, Mark Donohue was the champion. They started at Riverside, I think in November of '73, ended up at Daytona in February of '74.
Now they only had 4 races, right? There were 3 at Riverside over that weekend.
Right.
Then they waited till February and went to Daytona.
Right.
When they narrowed the field down from 12 drivers to the final 6 that went to Daytona,
correct.
right?
Yeah.
And Mark Donohue won that inaugural championship.
Right.
So from a Porsche point of view, everyone's like the Holy Grail, the 74 IROC. But it only ran 4 races, but that legend 50 years later is still strong. Why go from Porsche to Chevy?
Had a lot to do with the cost of the Porsches, and you put guys like David Pearson and Richard Petty in that little Porsche there, they didn't really like the shift and broke a lot, and the road race guys were pretty much running away with them. When you look at, you drove up in a car that was rented by Denny Holmes.
Nice ride. Yeah, OPP, other people's Porsches. This is real deal. That's a real deal.
I won the Tour Britannia and the Tour Auto in that car.
I drove it this morning.
Mark Donohue, George Fulmer, the greats.
These were sports car guys who were Porsche guys also. Was that an unfair advantage to begin with?
No doubt, no doubt. I don't even know that David Pearson had ever driven a rear engine car.
Oh, got it. Different dynamic.
Yeah.
Let's back up slightly about Roger Penske's idea of bringing racers from F1, from NASCAR, from Indian, from sports car to essentially what I suppose was a spec series in the way of everyone driving the same car, where driver's talent was more important than the setup and performance of the car because they were in equal cars. That was the concept, I believe, right?
Well, we were just talking about Jeff Gordon, competitive, right? So you got the greatest drivers in the world, and somebody wants to know, can you beat that guy? Yeah. And you get them in and put them all in the same car, and they came because the drivers wanted to find out
Who was better. Yeah.
And the fans loved it. You know, when I tell people, the hobby's great. Like, people love cars, but they come to see the stars. And they got to see the greatest in the world drive equal cars. It was an amazing idea.
You've hit the nail on the head, because without the driver, the car's going nowhere, right? That's the heart and soul of it. Who have you got running today at Laguna Seca here at the Rolex Monterey Historics?
Well, from our NASCAR world, we've got Jeff Gordon, we've got Kurt Busch, we've got Mark Martin, Ken Schrader, Bobby Labonte. From our IndyCar world, we've got Danny Sullivan, we've got Dario Franchitti, and a guy that crosses between sports cars and Indy cars, Scott Pruitt.
Yeah.
We've got world champion Jenson Button.
No way, F1 world champion Jenson Button?
Really, my goal is to make sure that the fans enjoy the experience. It's really about the fan experience and bringing all this history together. My other goal was to not make myself look like an idiot. So
IROC, we got it 73 to 2006. Walk me through the generations. We've sort of talked about the Porsche a little bit. What came next?
Well, then they decided to go with a Camaro. These were stock Camaros off the showroom floor.
Right here.
Roger Penske, he sent Mark Donohue into the showroom. They grabbed these cars. This car driven by James Hunt, still has the serial number on the dashboard. They were stock Camaros, much built like a Trans Am car. Mark Donohue and his group in Reading, Pennsylvania, built 12 of these cars in 9 weeks, but all of the cage, they put the cages in them, they beefed up the suspension, they got 350 cubic inch motors. They were all built at Traco Engineering, California, cast iron heads, about 450 horsepower. These had a mix of M22s and T10s, depending on, what season they ran them. But these started in a showroom, stock Camaro.
After you just climbed out of a 963 and climbing an IROC, it's hard to describe the difference.
Yeah.
But look, this is analog at its best, right? You got to shift it, you got to use a clutch, you got to use the brakes, but you can't use the brakes too much, or you'll end up with wheel hop, and there's no free ride. If you overdo anything, if you do something too much, then you're out of control.
And round he goes. Of all people, I don't think I've ever seen Bruce Canepa have an off. That was very rare, but fun.
But everything about it's fun because you just kind of overdrive them and hang on.
Now, was this a standalone race series, or was it a sports series to sports cars or NASCAR?
No, this was a standalone race series. It was made for television.
Okay.
At that time, ABC, Wide World of Sports, and they would run depending on which season it was. As you said, with the Porsches, they ran, some races at Riverside and did a elimination, if you will. They ran heat races, and they did that a little bit with these cars too. They'd start at Riverside, and they'd have, a race on Friday, a race on Saturday, and then they'd go to Daytona, and they'd go from road course to oval.
Okay,
same car.
So it's a combination of both. Mm-hmm. Was it always 12 drivers in the IROC Championship?
Again, they would change. The first year they would cut, so it moved on to 12 when they went to the Generation 2 Camaro.
So, who won season number 2? Mark Donohue won season number 1. Who won season number 2?
Bobby Unser.
Okay. So, talk me through Gen 1 to Gen 2.
So as the cars got faster and faster, and they started running places like Michigan and Daytona, and then they started having some crashes. And they realized that this car, being a unibody, wasn't the safest thing. So they had a big wreck at Daytona. And Richard Petty said, if you cats are going to keep doing this, and that was the exact word. He said, you cats are going to keep doing this, you got to get your real car. So they went to Banjo Matthews, and he designed the first tube-frame car. This is a 110-inch wheelbase, basically a NASCAR Cup car from 1977. And what I call IROC Gen 2 Camaros have been the most popular ones to
I can see why. Crazy bright colors, wide body work. They sound awesome, I'm assuming, and we'll find out later on today. This has to be every kid's sort of dream vision of what does a race car look like. It sort of looks like this.
I remember growing up, I was a big Cale Yarborough fan, and I grew up watching all these legends. It's a bit scary actually racing against some of them. Doesn't feel quite right, but no, how cool is it watching the F1 guys, the Indy guys, the sports car guys, the NASCAR guys all fighting it out in these cars at some of the most iconic tracks. Going from the Jaguar GTP to this, you gotta recalibrate your brain a little bit.
These cars ran until 1980, and the last race of the 1980 season, they had a huge crash at Atlanta. I mean, like almost the whole field crashed, and everybody thought the series ended because of that, but they were losing sponsorship. So these cars got put in mothballs, and they ended up sitting there for a long time, and guys started buying them and repairing them themselves and whatnot. So there were still, I think originally there were about 21 of these cars built, and right now we think there's still about 14 of them that exist.
Who's driving this car today?
A guy named Dario Franchitti.
No way, no way, Mr. Franchitti.
Yeah, so
I call him the Tornado. What is he, 3-time Indy 500, 4-time Indy champ?
You should see the list. We added up all of the Indy wins and all of the NASCAR wins and the championships that we have here running this weekend. And it's pretty impressive. But when this series, part of the series, stopped, and we came back in '83, these were the cars that we built. These, what I call Generation 3 Camaro.
Right here. So Gen 3.
Yeah. So, and this car, Bill Elliott is driving it. He won Daytona with this color, this same car. So we restored it as he drove it.
Well, I don't know. I got a good start there right off the bat, and I was able to get in front and stay there all day. The car really run good.
They look good in this environment. They sound great, seeing all generations on track together.
Talking about the car or the driver?
Well, it's always the driver, right? Without the driver, the car is going nowhere.
Every time I go on the track, I learn something a little different.
What did you learn 20 minutes ago?
Well, I learned how to roll more speed around a racetrack.
What is the key to getting comfortable rolling more speed?
You said the key word, getting comfortable.
And it is Bill Elliott that sees that white flag.
So Gen 3 went from what years?
These cars raced as a Camaro from 1984 through 1989.
Okay.
But then Chevrolet pulled out, and Mr. Penske and Jay Signori said, well, we'll go to Dodge. Well, how can we do that quickly? Well, we'll take the bodies off these Camaros and we'll make them into Dodge Daytonas. And if you look at this Dodge Daytona, and again, there's only 2 of these right now, and this is one of them, but this is a Camaro roof. Didn't have time to change the roofs. So,
Mopar or no car, but yet it's got a Chevy roof.
Got a Chevy roof.
Got it.
And I can't confirm or deny the first few of them
it's
might
a Chevy
have Chevy
Dodge.
motors.
No way, no way.
These cars ran from 1991 through 1993.
And then you go to here.
Take the Dodge Daytona body off, put a Dodge Avenger body on.
The name is Avenger. This is the first time in history that a car will be raced before it's available to the public.
And these cars ran 1994, 1995.
So what happens after that, and how do we get to the Pontiac?
Dodge at that time said, hey, they had a 5-year run, it was good. They went and saw Pontiac, Trans Am people. Pontiac was doing a lot in NASCAR racing at that point. Kind of a top secret deal, because the first Pontiac was on a chassis like that, but this is what they moved to. These are designed more for the racing radials, so everything was moved to the front. Lighter chassis, same wheelbase, but much newer style NASCAR type suspension. Maybe one of these days we'll get you to take a few laps in one of these. I know you're a Porsche guy, but we've got Camaros. That's my personal car, okay? And we'll get you a ride in that. That car is one of the 2 existing prototypes.
No way.
So that started life as a Camaro.
What year is that?
I built that car in 1984.
Okay, wow. Yeah. 84, that's 41 years old.
Yeah.
No way.
Raced as a Camaro, raced as a Daytona, raced as an Avenger. That was one of the cars that I built down at Banjo Matthews when I went there.
Banjo Matthews, what a name. Who is Banjo Matthews?
Banjo Matthews
sounds like a good old boy.
Well, yeah. He was really the guy that produced about every car that won races in the early 80s.
What was his specialty? What was his magic? Why was he so successful?
Banjo was just really smart with geometry and
Knew how to
building
make
cars
things
and whatnot.
work.
Yeah, and I was fortunate enough to have spent a lot of time with him, and just was a really, really sharp guy. You know, he taught me how to set up a car. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning. We were getting ready to go to Daytona. He's sitting on a roll-around chair following me around, and I've got a tape measure, and he's telling me, do this, do this, do this, and never touched a scale, really never measured anything himself. We unloaded the car at Daytona. Dave Marcus gets in it. Third lap by, he goes 188 miles an hour. Said it's perfect.
And the green flag flies at Daytona once again.
Take a look at some of the names that have driven that car on the window.
Wow. That's an impressive list.
Yeah, George Fulmer, Jackie Ickx, Emerson Fittipaldi,
No
Neil
way.
Bonnet, Darrell
way.
Waltrip, Dale Earnhardt, Bobby Rahal,
Some big
Hurley
names.
Haywood, Derek Bell.
Wow. Yeah, when Derek Bell told me, he actually told me the story about Dale sort of just tapping him.
Well, I thought I was in there with professional drivers, but they're like bloody animals out there. I hit the wall at 175 miles an hour head on, you know. And then I hit the wall at the bottom, then spun around again and ended up down here. I came 500 yards.
He wasn't ready for that.
Yeah. Dale tapped a few people.
Yeah. Hey, the legend lives on.
And the champ emerges.
Covering all 7 generations.
All 7 generations. First
Wow.
time in history.
All 7 generations together.
First time in history.
First time. This didn't happen at Lime Rock or anything like that?
No, because in Lime Rock, we had some Porsches, but they were replicas.
Ah,
So this is the first time, you know, because there's very few Porsches. There's only 2 of those Daytonas on the planet. Wow. You know, we just finished the 3rd gen IROC Camaro. So yesterday when they took that picture, first time the cars had ever been together.
Ray and his team have done a spectacular job of bringing all these cars together, all 7 generations.
Do you believe that 7 generations?
It's
fantastic.
There's so many disparities with the 7 generations here. It's a blast for everybody.
So that's going to roll me into, you know, we've talked about the engine, the transmission, the performance, the drivers, but at the end of the day, the contact patch is important. I see all these cars are rolling on Goodyear tires. Seems like they've been on Goodyear tires since day one.
There's never been an IROC race on any other brand tire, you know, and as long as I'm there, there never will be. Goodyear has been a huge partner, and what some people don't know, as the radial tire started to be developed in the 80s, you know, for racing, IROC did all of that testing. We did it with Goodyear.
Everybody in the world asks the question, you know, are you going to be a race car driver? Are you going to be a race car driver? I didn't know how to drive a race car. You know, I was the most fortunate guy in the world. They'd just repaved the racetrack. Goodyear had just come with a brand new tire. So everything worked to make me look good that day.
The Goodyear people would come to the track, work with us through the test, all types of different brands, compounds, angles, engineers, and now for us being here, for historic IROC and historic stock cars, they've made a special road race tire for us, but it has white lettering on it. All of the other tires for NASCAR are yellow letters.
Got it.
So Goodyear went back and made a historic white letter tire especially for the historic road racing.
Because there really is a difference.
Let's talk about Laguna Seca, 11 turns, historical track. Last question, will you be racing, will you be driving?
I won't, I'd love to, but when I'm working, I don't want to wear 2 hats.
So this is fun, but you're still working?
Oh yeah, I'm a lucky guy. I'm really blessed because I get to do what I want every day, so I never look at it as work.
There you go.
Mark Donahue, Bobby Unsick, AJ Foyt, Bobby Allison,
and Andretti and Yarborough coming in there.
The Goodyear blimp from high in the sky over the Riverside International Raceway.
IROC bursts into action here at Laguna Seca in 2025.
This racetrack I've never been to before, so.
First time at Laguna Seca?
First time.
No way. What took you so long to get to Laguna Seca?
NASCAR didn't race here.
At the front, it is once again Mark Martin. It's the NASCAR boys and Al Danny Sullivan sits just ahead of him.
I know Laguna Seca like the back of my hand. I've been racing here since the late 70s. I love this track. It's fantastic. So to drive one of these around, it's not the quickest car I've ever driven around here, but it's a lot of fun.
Never been on this racetrack, never driven in a simulator or anything, so for me, I have no goals. I'm just having a good time.
Here we go then. The green flag waves as IROC again bounces into action here fourth position. Jeff Gordon in third as he dives into Andretti curve. Bush cuts the nose off Gordon. Gordon tightens it up at 3. And into 4 they go. And it's Drissi, Franchitti, Canepa now.
I think Pat Long in that old car is pretty impressive. That's it. He's right there.
Yep.
Still in the same frame.
Oh, and round he goes. And the man who literally lives most of his days here.
That's his favorite corner, too.
What is the key to the corkscrew? It's a famous turn right. We hear all about it.
I can't tell you what the key to it is because I don't want to give up the secret.
Top 2, there's nothing between them.
Look at Franchitti. He's gonna give him a run.
He's gonna give him a run, and it's gonna be a real battle for both first and second, and for the podium in third. Jeff Gordon now moving into third. White flag is out. Tommy Drissi has got Dario Franchitti all over the back of him, and both men want this badly. Bush back with Gordon. But I'm sure Jeff Gordon being Jeff Gordon won't sit back and let Kurt take that.
Half a lap left.
Drissi.
He's going to make a run out of it.
Here we go. Can he get a run at 10?
No, he's going to go for 11.
Drissi's trying to defend. He's raced here many a time. The checkered flag in the return of IROC at Laguna Seca in 2025.